Cradle. Dogs of Fount. Chapter 4. Sir? Hyatt looked concerned. Arturo gave the colonel a sharp look and shrugged. I'm listening. At your meeting, you have to remind them that in order to stop the guerrilla attacks, we need to deploy the deforesting virus in the more southern portion of their territory. Otherwise, there will be more deaths on both sides. Yeah, that makes sense. Arturo got up and looked in the mirror over the liquor cabinet, which was now empty. He had a tan uniform with only the green and red general pendant. For a moment, he looked at his hair. It was still rather short. He had decided to receive treatment to grow it back. He still felt it looked weird. One last thing, sir. The detective, the detective from the Capitol still wants a meeting with you. He says that he is pulling every favor to keep from escalating the situation, but he really needs your Hyatt? The general's word sliced coldly, and he stood there in silence while the air conditioning droned. I will talk to the detective, Canty, when I have time. Great, sir. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you in a few. He walked out. Arturo parted the vertical blinds and looked outside. The weather looked perfect for once, sunny and clear. He needed a walk, if just to create a little space in his head. This balancing act was swinging wildly, and he wondered if anyone saw the dread in his eyes. The world didn't know just how much things changed on that night that Fount dropped the nuke. For the general, his actions had nothing to do with saving the world. It was about saving Fount and the way of life that he revered. Fount was literally a holy refuge on this side of the Atlantic. Outside, he had saluted several soldiers, but that damned eye twitch thing kept creeping back up. He asked Jillian if she could see it, and she said she didn't. She wasn't exactly trustworthy, though. They had only begun talking without Hyatt around for the past couple of months. She had been pregnant for 4 months, and it caused her to slow down and become even-tempered. The Black Tiger seats had been cooled, just as scheduled, and the AC was pleasantly chill. Those damn protesters had tripled in number after the war started, and Arturo would have killed some of them if he didn't need to save his own rear end to ensure that he could see Ruth again. As he drove by their picket line, he smiled and put on his mirrored aviators. Arturo swaggered through the green outdoor hall that the trees created on the way to the Capitol, the Hall of Judgment. It felt odd and almost awkward how the government employees on the park benches or the ones having lunch on the lawn would either purposely avoid looking at him or stare. The logic of it had no need to be pondered on for too long. He was leading the war Fount was tangled in. The journalist had a magnifying lens over him for what had been a year now. That photo in the Giroux Daily that spotted him in Dearden with Jillian raised quite a few eyebrows. After that, Hyatt was completely oblivious, almost apologetic for the bad attention it caused the general. It just so happened that after that photo dropped, he lost track of Ruth for a few days and was never quite sure if she lost trust in him or not. The entrance to the great building was open. The huge doors were rarely ever open, which caused people to believe they were stationary. There were sliding glass doors built into them, dwarfed yet functional. The sweet air followed the general into the foyer. The 10-foot-tall flower pots overflowed with tropical flora, and nobody seemed unnerved by the handful of bees buzzing around the plants. The walk to the grand chamber was shorter than the one to the cafeteria or the ID chamber, but no less luxurious. Valuable books lined the 20-foot-tall walls without a worry of any theft. They all knew they were being watched. Some knew Cyphus's technology might even see deeper. He walked into the beige-shaded lobby of the grand chamber. There were a handful of attractive women in business dresses and skirts, and a couple of young men talking over a ledger. Arturo's screen buzzed. Come in, you're early. He walked towards the huge patio. The glass walls were open as the great doors were in the front, but it was no less beautiful. The cherry blossoms had matured since fall, and the lawn below was brilliant green. The chamber was to the left, just before the exit to the patio. The judges had their private portion of the balcony, off of their room. There they were all on couches and didn't look too pleased to see him. "Judges, how are we today?" the general greeted. "How are you?" Talman responded. "Taking care of business as usual," Arturo said. There was something unspoken hanging in the air, something new, but the general couldn't guess what it was. Talman nodded and sipped his coffee. Oberhill looked a bit stronger, less shaken than normal when he spoke. "We want a draft. No more of this advertising blitz begging for volunteering." The general cleared his throat. "Our researchers—" "Damn your researchers. We need more soldiers," Oberhill fumed. Nobody spoke. Arturo looked down and ran his pinched fingers down the seam of his pleated trousers. He cleared his throat again. "Our researchers believe it is too early to start a draft. The population feels vulnerable, and they feel they are losing more and more security within Fount by the day. Yes, I do agree. We need more soldiers. Now is not the time. Maybe next summer." Richard Black crossed his thin legs and pointed at the general. "Make it the coming winter, no later." "I will consider it," Arturo said. "Winter, that's final." The general nodded. The portly Judge Cedric Jackson was darker due to a tan, but still the youngest looking one between the judges. He pulled out his larger screen, usually used for reports. "I've done a study with a team of top men. FaithNet is leveraging against us too much. They are reaching for a power grab. We need clandestine operations to keep the upper hand. Polnick has ideas, but we need to move quickly." "FaithNet has no military. I'm not worried about them," Arturo said. The judges erupted in mocking laughter, and it continued long enough to enrage the general, although he stayed visibly cool. Black began. "Ryan Cyphers has been watching you closely. He has also informed us that you may know where Nathaniel Lint is, too." "BS. Wait, he said you may know. However, even that possibility and the fact you haven't let us in on that is enough to can you. Tread carefully now. I have no idea where that traitor is, and if I did, he would be somewhere buried by now. Also, Art Black. Also, I would like to let you know that I have stopped 2 mutinies in the field due to my soldiers' lack of faith in the hall. If you want to threaten someone, find them somewhere else. I do my dang job." Oberhill walked over to the gold-plated and glass beverage cart and lifted the kettle. "Coffee, Art?" "No, thank you." The men took care of smaller details for another 45 minutes without any more headbutting. Cedric Jackson invited, but more so demanded, to escort Arturo alone to the patio balcony. The judge took out 2 Cuban-style cigars. "Take it," Jackson demanded. The general looked in the man's cold eyes and decided to follow his lead. The judge lit Arturo's and then his own. "They're starting to believe you are the one that killed Denali," the judge said with the cigar still in his mouth. "Me? Just shut up and listen. Get your stuff together. You're up to something, and the rest of them are starting to get anxious for a house cleaning or worse. Cover up your dang tracks and get things back to normal. I won't be talking to you for a while. You're on your own. Oh, and FaithNet sees." Jackson walked back into the chamber. The general sat on a fine lounge chair and tried to enjoy the 75-credit cigar. A couple hours later, the general was still in the Capitol, but in a residential corner. He sat in his tiger with his arm hanging out the window. Suddenly, she came out of the apartment door with her nurse. First, she had been in a wheelchair, and now she was on crutches. She was now in the process of regaining her ability to speak from a therapist at the University of Dearden. Dearden, of course, having the best facilities in Fount. Arturo still couldn't believe Denali's wife didn't die from a bullet to the head. Maybe next time she will, he said to himself.